Hey friends, happy Friday. This is our last distance learning Friday, so enjoy it. We are going to end our distance learning by reading a story today called Schools Around the World, which is a very similar book to the book we read in class, but a different author has written it. And so there are some different details, some different information. So I'm going to read this book to you. And then in your distance learning packet, you will see that there is a sheet called What's the Story About? You're going to write the title. The title is Schools Around the World. You're going to write down the main idea and 3 different details. Okay, so it says main idea, I know this because. So when you write down the main idea, what the story's intended to be about, what the author wants us to know, how do you know? What are 3 details that tell you that? So that's what you're going to do for your writing piece today of your comprehension writing piece. Okay, so if you have trouble answering those questions, you can go back and watch this book reading a second time or a third time if you need to help you know the details. Or as you're listening, you could write down little notes, whatever works best for you. Okay, let's get started. Again, Schools Around the World by Eleanor O'Connell. Time for school. Some schools around the world look different than yours. Students there may dress a bit differently too. As you read this book, imagine what it's like to go to school in these interesting places. Did you hear the bell? It's time for school. School boats. Much of the country of Bangladesh in South Asia floods during the rainy season. That means many schools flood. Students miss classes and get behind in their studies. Some people thought of a way to solve this problem: floating schools. And you can take a look at the picture here, see what that looks like. And notice up here we have our heading. It's a text feature. Boat schools mean students can go to class year-round. The boats even pick up students, just like a school bus. Some boats have computers powered by the sun. Boat schools can be found in Cambodia, Nigeria, the Philippines, Vietnam, and Zambia too. Bus classroom. You might take a bus to school. Imagine if your classroom was a bus. A school in Shanghai, China, made a bus into a classroom. The fun idea came from a children's book. It's a great way to recycle a bus too. You can see the teachers up front, and all the students are on the bus in the chairs doing their learning. Got to do what you got to do, right? Computers to go. In some remote areas of Africa, students don't have access to the internet and computers. People have made large shipping containers into computer labs for these places. Trucks can easily move the containers to new places when needed. So we have a photograph, we have our heading, we have our keywords, and then here we have a label, shipping container. That's what that looks like. Open air schools. In some places, there aren't enough buildings for schools. In Afghanistan, schools have been destroyed by years of war. Children often gather in open air schools to learn. Sometimes they hold class in tents to hide from the sun and rain. I don't think that's so unique right now. I think when the weather was nicer here and in other parts of the country where it's warm during the winter, I think there's a lot of outdoor or open air schools happening because of coronavirus. What they wear. Many schools in Africa require students to wear uniforms. However, it's not uncommon to see students walking long ways to and from school barefoot. Sometimes they do this to make their shoes last longer. You can see the girls are wearing these blue sweaters with longer bluish skirts, and then the boys are wearing blue sweaters with blue shorts. That's their uniform. Even in uniform, students may show their culture in special ways. In Southeast Asian country of Myanmar, students sometimes wear thanaka on their face. Thanaka is a yellowish white paste made from bark. It guards skin from sunburn. That's kind of like sunscreen. So we have here a label. This is thanaka, and this is what it looks like. School's out. In the Southern Hemisphere, summer is from December until March. So students in countries there, such as Brazil, have their summer vacation during this time. Would you like to go to school in a different country? Which one and why? That might be something you could write about today, boys and girls. If you're done with all your work and you're looking for something else to do, you could answer this question. Would you like to go to school in a different country? Which one and why? And maybe you can base that on some of the things that you learned today. Maybe a boat school or a bus school sounds like fun. All right, and then here we have our glossary, another text feature. Tells us what some of those important words mean. And remember, they are in ABC order. We did a lot of work with that last week. Okay, that's the end of our story. So, and here's the index as well. We talked about the index if you want to just learn about something in particular, such as maybe you just want to learn about those bus classrooms, so you can go back and see again what that's all about. You could just go to page 10. Or if you're curious to learn more about thanaka, you could go find that and turn to page 18. Okay, so go ahead and do the work in your packet. You've got that comprehension sheet, main idea and detail that we talked about. We have more work on the EEEA vowel pattern that we worked on this week. Kind of a fun search it with that same, I guess these are EA words. So the word box is down below, and then you can find the words in the little puzzle here, or the box. And we'll save the rest for later. Oh, actually, the writing is on the back side if you haven't figured that out, and it was stapled backwards. So at first it's gonna look like a blank sheet. Turn it over and you'll have your writing sheet, okay? My favorite time at school. All right, friends, have a great morning. I'll see you again in math class.